Yo boys, what's up and welcome back to another video here in the shopping cart go-kart series. Now if you missed the first episode, go check that one out because in that episode I explained a lot of stuff, where this series is going, and all the important things you need to know for the future. I got so much positive feedback from that video and I appreciate that so very much. So if you do enjoy this series, just go share it to a friend, dude. Be like, yo, this dude's building like a sick go-kart, dude. You should like go check it out, dude. You know, dog? Like go view it so he gets money and he can build it faster and quicker and easier. Faster, just don't worry about that, man. Just shh. So one very crucial piece of information you need to know is that I'm figuring this out as I go. So as you see while we're building these, well, steering arm, like I don't know what we're gonna call this. We'll call it a steering arm because that's kind of what it is, sort of. While I'm building this piece, you see the first one, incredibly rough, very difficult. And on the second one, dude, it took maybe 15 minutes to make. The first one took about 2 hours, okay? So you see, I'm learning as I go. The first one's usually pretty rough. I figure it out, and then I do better on the second one. So on the first one, had to weld it all up and stuff. It's just cancer. Second one, like easy peasy. So just know I'm learning as I go, and these videos, I'm obviously recording this in post so I can tell you my mistakes and what I did to make it better. So the first thing we are doing in today's video is building those steering arms. So what I did is I went over to Lowe's and picked up this flat bar. I believe it's 1 1/4. I don't know the thickness, but it's pretty beefy stuff. I don't have the receipt on me, but I will go and get that and report back to you by the end of the video on how much it costs and everything. And I'll probably have the exact dimensions then too. Just give me a little bit, okay? To make this steering arm, what you're gonna have to do is build essentially what looks like a C. It's obviously a lot easier using 90-degree bends than making a semicircle. So that's what we gotta do. While I was at Lowe's, I also grabbed bolts. These bolts are what's gonna actually be steering the cart, so that will go through the C. Now, as I did mention previously, this was very, very rough in the beginning. You can see I'm using my entire body weight. I'm using mallets. I'm using everything. At some point, I get in there with a torch and try and scorch it and bend it and stuff. It is just a pain. So by the time I finished this first one, I had an attack plan already in place for the second one. Obviously, we need one of these for each side. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to bend this thing by itself, so I ended up grabbing the angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, and I ended up scoring on each of the lines. Now, if we take a look back at the beginning when I was drawing the lines out, we have the end of the flat bar, and we have one, I believe it was 1 1/2 inches away. That is the part we are going to fold up. From there, we take a 6-inch gap where the bolt will actually span, and then we have another 1 1/2 gap that we're going to score and fold up, so we have the C shape. When I was originally just trying to bend the metal, I was thinking scoring and removing material was going to make it weaker, but as you see in just a minute, we had to end up welding it anyways, which is adding material back, and I'm welding on a very aggressive setting, meaning we get a lot of penetration, so it's really not losing any structural rigidity. So what you just watched was me doing one 90-degree bend. Keep in mind there are 2 per arm. And that took me 1 hour and 25 minutes according to my recording footage, which you guys complain about how often these videos are coming out, but you have to consider that it takes me like a week to make one video because I'm waiting on batteries to charge and stuff because it's just a really long process. Anyways, we're not talking about this second. You can see that I rage quit, now I'm moving on to the second one, but I learned a lot from that first one, so the second one is much smoother. I mean, keep in mind we're not done with the first one either, but it's a work in progress, man. I don't know. Here you get a very clear shot of the measurement, so we have 1.5 inches. We take that 6-inch span where the bolt will actually go, and then we have another 1.5 inches. Now, it doesn't have to be these dimensions. These are just ones I generated from watching other YouTube videos, which I've obviously done a lot of research and put a lot of time into this project, so that's another voice, hello? That's another reason these videos aren't coming out super quickly. I'm not taking shots in the dark here. I'm actually doing a lot of research, putting a lot of thought into it, and trying to do stuff the right way. Because this, like, my life could depend on this. If this breaks, the cart could flip over and I could break my neck. Like, with these pieces, my welding. So, like, keep that in mind here. So now moving back to the first arm, unfortunately I did get a stress fracture. This is most likely due to the fact that I didn't score it enough, so it had a really hard time bending. I forced it, I got most of the 90-degree completed, and then it just snapped off. So that's what you can see me trying to fix here. Unfortunately, I can't show you my welding. The sensor in the camera will get fried and destroyed if I show you the welding, so I can't do that. But I did weld this up. I laid some decent welds at first. On the extra flat bar that I'm not using for the arms, I did lay some beads. So I got the settings as good as I was going to get them as an amateur welder. But yeah, that's what we're doing here. We're just trying to fix that arm because unfortunately it got a pretty nasty stress fracture. Now, if you don't know anything about welding, one of the most, if not the most important steps is to get a good ground, which is that clamp you see me putting on the bottom. I obviously ground off the points on either side of that clamp. Another very important part to get a clean weld is to actually clean the surface you're welding. So I went in with both a grinder and a file, and I ground down each side. So it's very clean, very good weld. So as I did mention, I did practice on some flat bar, but that doesn't mean it's going to be good first time on the actual part you're welding. So unfortunately, I did make some pretty big mistakes, got some pretty bad booger welds, so I went back with the grinder and basically ground it all off, started from the beginning. So it took me a couple of tries. You don't need to see all those though, not that I could show you anyways, because once again, it would fry the sensor in the camera. So the second time around on that first arm, the welds were pretty good. I'm happy with them. They're not going to get any better for the time I'm willing to spend on this and the time I've already spent on this. We have a lot of other things we need to do, obviously. So moving on to the second arm, I did cut it out and score it, but I did not actually bend it. So here I'm going the opposite direction. As I said, I learned from the first time. So I went into the score, and then this I'm bending away from the score, which is the logical thing to do. And you can see the metal is just bending right there. So this is much faster. It's probably going to be stronger too. So after I bent these 90s, I did realize the metal was a little thin around the bend, which obviously creates a massive, massive weak point. And structurally, once again, I want these to be as strong as physically possible. So I did go back with the welder since I already have it out. It's already, you know, all set up. I do go back and add some pretty thick beads on the inside and outside. That's another thing to mention. On this arm and the other arm, I didn't weld on just the outside. It was inside and out. I just figured, why not? It's making the metal thicker. It's adding some more structural rigidity, and it's making it safer. So it's a win-win-win. Now there you guys have it. These were flat bar in the beginning of the video. And several hours later, several minutes for you guys, they are now some beautiful steering arms. I still don't know what to call these things, so if you guys have any ideas, let me know. Obviously, this is just one small part of the entire steering system. From here, we have to fab up a couple other things. This is just a very simple part in the spectrum of the entire cart, but it took quite a while, took all day, took multiple days to make the video, but you get the point. I'm not here to rant, I'm here to tell you. You can see the beads on the inside. Nice blue, beautiful, sexy titanium color, even though they're not titanium. I did grind off the beads on the outside, but on the inside, they look hella fine. And that is MIG welding, not TIG. Just want to throw that out there. I'd love to learn how to TIG on this cart, and I was planning on learning how to TIG on this cart. That was kind of the whole point of the project. We do have a TIG welder as well as a MIG, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. At this point, it's taking so long. I just want to kind of get it done. So it's probably going to be mostly MIG. So unfortunately, that is going to wrap up this video. Once again, this video took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thinking, which I unfortunately have to do sometimes. So if you could share this series with a friend, share it with somebody who's interested in building a go-kart, like the video, subscribe if you're new, all that stuff that everybody tells you to do. Like, it literally means so much to me. It means so much that you guys are staying up to date on the series. And once again, if you missed the first video, go watch that. It's in the top right-hand side of your screen. Just click that little circle with the eye in the middle. Click that, and it'll be right there. It'll also be in your screen in just a second. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. This was part 2, and I will see you in part 3 or in any of the other daily uploads here on the channel, because it's not just go-kart stuff here, boys. It's a lot of other stuff, too. I already have part 3 completed, where you get the wheels, the big old Johnnies. And also, if you're not following me on Instagram, you should do that, because you guys got a sneak peek on Instagram. So anyways, guys, peace out and have a beautiful day. See you in the next one. I'm just rambling at this point, so ta-ta.
I think she train to go, and everybody knows that girl, she